It's a rainy day, so I'm in here working on the pirate ship again. First thing I'm doing is using the screwdriver just to poke holes in all the little blisters on the bottom here. They're not exactly blisters, they're just places where there wasn't enough epoxy between the layers, and so there's little holes there, and those holes will fill up with water and then they will blister. So I'm preemptively coming in here and popping them all, and then I have to come back and sand them, sand it down, and then I'll have to come back and fill in the holes with some sort of epoxy or something else. This is definitely a huge waste of time if I had just done it right in the first place, but it was my first attempt at doing this sort of epoxy work, and I just didn't know what I was doing. I now know a lot more, but I still gotta pay the penalty. There are literally hundreds of these little things. Doop, 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 doop. One episode of Star Trek later, we can see I've made tons of these little holes, and I've got many more to go. Look at this in focus. This is definitely one of those cases where doing it right the first time saves an awful lot of time, but it is fortunately fixable. Over here at the danger cart, and before I can try out the new solenoid and see if I can get it going, I need to charge up these batteries. They were all in pretty wacky states, so I'm individually charging them up. I've gotten 1 out of 5 done. The one that this charger is on right now should be charged soon, so tomorrow maybe I'll be able to move on to the third one. I'm over here at the first cart, and you may remember that yesterday I used this screw stand, or whatever it's called, to hold the cart even though we already had it on the hydraulic one. And you can see now that the hydraulic stand slipped about an inch overnight, even though there's basically no weight on it. So that's exactly why I put this other stand there, because I was pretty sure that was going to happen. Tried to get that bolt off some more. It still won't move at all. It's very mysterious. You can see where I dug out some of that dirt for the garden. We now got a little puddle here. Hopefully this will drain pretty quickly. We don't want it to turn into a mosquito breeding ground. Over here we've got an actual proper drainage ditch. There's actually a little pipe right here. Comes from under the road and drains out into here. And James dug this out, which is great, except it's kind of full of water and not draining. At the other end now, we can see the water has just sort of built up here, and then it got to the end of the run and it's just not draining into the rest of the land. I think we probably need to come bring it just a little bit further over this hill here, and then the hill will help it run downhill. You can see the ducks are all over here in our garden, which is good. That's exactly what we wanted. They're eating up all the slugs and other things that we don't want in the garden. They saw me, so they're running away now, making lots of noise about it. We've got our 3 berms over here. We see we had that little retaining pool at the bottom, and it is in fact retaining water, which is exactly what we wanted. You can see one of the little ducks has gone in our little retaining pond there. You can only see its little tail sticking out. There's its top, there's the head. I get closer, but I'll scare them off. Well, this is pretty unusual. It's raining and a bunch of the goats are outside. Usually they hate the rain and they stay indoors, but I guess they got too hungry. So compared to that hole and that other drainage ditch we saw, we can see that my super awesome drainage ditch here is practically empty. There is a little bit of water down here towards the end. We can see with a little bit of water trapped in here, this is probably a low spot, and then it goes up a little bit before it goes back down the hill. But not much water being retained in there, so maybe I'll come and do a little bit more landscaping on it, but this is definitely working very well. Back at my campsite now with my little tiny trench here, and it's got a little water accumulation in it, but it does drain out. And as we get further down there, there's more water in it, so it is draining out into the field down there.